Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Heartwell Demo stream, the live stream series where we are continuing to develop this adorable Souls-like action RPG with platform mechanics and multiple endings. And if you find these dev streams interesting or helpful, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and boop that bell button to stay notified. Now, it's been a little over 2 weeks at this point because I've been away on some travel, but not to worry, we are back, and I'm very excited because if we look at our list here, we are quite far along with the full screen rework. So, for context, this here on the left side of the screen here represents all the various things we need to do just to changes that need to be implemented for the ultimate full screen rework. Most of these are things that involve edits to the manifest stat pages that are used throughout Heartwell. That's effectively like your level up menus and your weapon menus. Now, we start way up here, which is on page 17. And today, we are all the way down at page 31, which means we have been making a lot of headway, and we may even get to a point where the manifest is all edited for the changes for the full screen rework, at which point we can move on to wrapping up a couple miscellaneous things before having the full screen rework being fully implemented, and that would be a major milestone. So very excited for the possibility of that. And thus, let's continue. All right. So we're gonna start on line 746. I believe that's in this area. Since these changes, I think, are for the dialog box popping up correctly. Yep. So in Heartwell, the manifest stat menus have a little section that of dialogue that can change based off where the user's mouse cursor is, and that's to help display useful information. Yep, see, it says manifest endorses thought display text when the mouse cursor is not on the manifest or in a particular area. And we have formulas for that to help make it as straightforward as possible. So the numbers we're interested in are these numbers, because these are the positionings relative to the health bar, which is how everything is oriented. Hit for the manifest. Why am I mad? Okay, that's there. Oh, hello, Jay. Thanks for dropping by. How's it going? Hello. What was the travel for? If it's not too personal, just for work. I was a very long work trip, but not to worry. It's I'm back and it went well, so all's good. How have you been, Jay? What's new in your world? I know it's been a little while. I will say this. Even when I was on travel, I was able to come up with some pretty important lore for the game's story. So obviously I can't go into detail about it for spoiler reasons, but basically there was some information about the game's main antagonist that was just like a big question mark. Like, I know where I wanted to go with the antagonist, and I knew where they started, relatively speaking, so to speak, but like kind of the part in the middle that gets them from point A to point B was very loosely defined. And while I was away at during that work trip, it hit me. Like, it hit me what the missing link was. And that's got me really excited in the lore writing department, because I mean, whether it's in Dungeons and Dragons or in game development, it's no secret that I enjoy developing boss fights. And in my view, a boss fight is enhanced if the boss has a really good story behind it. So knowing that I now have at least a foundation from which to expand upon for the main for a big chunk of the main antagonist lore, that's got me very excited. Yeah. So We're at line 746. I believe we need to make, yeah, we have to reduce everything by 18 there. So 218 to 138. Let me check something real quick, chat. Okay. Just wanted to make sure that my volume was all good, because I know, I think it was a couple streams ago, I had accidentally muted myself and didn't even realize until about a couple minutes into the stream. Speaking of remembering things, I must remember that it's useful to do something like this to make it easier to see what must be edited. So in our case, all the 218s in this section need to be changed over to 138. Yeah, actually, did I even create the table for this? Let's find out. I didn't. Might be something I want to do. All right. For those who are wondering why I'm bothering to make a table like this, it's just to help organize my thoughts in the event that these values ever need to change again. And that's because what I've been using these tables for is to define the alterable values, so that in the future we don't have to add every single individual line. We'll just be able to add alterable values at one spot. So let's call this I guess this would be the help box. That's coordinate offset. Xbox mouse X offset. And then we can just grab everything and define those values, and we'll be all good to go. Might be worthwhile to just open a second tab to make this a little bit easier on ourselves. All right. $582, $502, $398 to $318, $210 to $130. Alrighty. Yep, there's all that. Now we do the y coordinates. Yeah, lots of y coordinates here. Which makes sense, because that's for the positioning of the manifest help box selection. And the manifest has a lot of different information that needs to be conveyed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Well, this is going to add up very quickly. All right. I know this might seem like extra work right here, chat, but remember, this is ultimately to organize some global values that we'll be able to edit in a central location in the future, if we ever need to. And that would make situations like this, where this takes a lot to have, as opposed to that. Jay asks, do you have any major math education, or is it mostly self-taught? Great question. So, kind of a mix of both. So, bear in mind, chat, I went to college for mechanical engineering. So, as a result of that, I had to learn at least some baseline level of calculus. Now, I didn't go nearly as far in calculus as like a scientist would or a mathematician would, but I had to at least learn like up to around boundary value problems. However, this is key, chat. What I'm doing here is not calculus. Like, none of this stuff requires like integrals or derivatives or anything like that. Everything you're seeing here is algebra. Plain and simple. Mixed with programming logic. So while I obviously learned algebra in high school, and I learned I took an AP computer science course in high school, which taught me like the basics of if-then statements, for loops, stuff like that. At the end of the day, like actually bringing that all together into actually some kind of logic for how a game works, that's self-taught. It's just, think of it more like you have all the pieces there, you have the programming pieces there, at least in theory, and you have like the math pieces there in theory, but to actually put them together into a game that makes logical sense, that was self-taught. Does that answer your question, Jay? Yeah. Something I'll think about in hindsight is, while it does take some level of mathematics to understand how to program, I guess, algebraic equations, I ultimately think writing and project management are more valuable skills to learn as a game developer than actual mathematics. It might seem a bit odd, since programming is all about trying to make logical sense for a computer. But if you really think about it, if you're able to plan, yes, believe it or not, algebra is only required in quotation marks in Australia. Oh, really? I had no idea. So what is, like, if you don't mind me asking, what does the primary education system look like in Australia? Is it like, and I'll use America as a baseline here, just as a frame of reference. So in America, there are 12 grades you have to go through before you can go to college, and each of those grades have generally some form of math, some form of literature or writing class. Usually a history class. As you get into the higher grades, they also include things like science, and then some elective. So by the time you've reached your last year in high school, I think you're expected to have finished like whatever the highest level of algebra is before you get to calculus. So whatever that is. Some amount of writing, some amount of American and European history, and usually I think a physics class, and that's about it for all you need for high school, at least at by the very end. Is it kind of similar in Australia, Jay? It's largely similar to the US. You have the pre-primary years 1 through 6, high school 1 through 10, required, 1 through 12 optional. Huh. Okay, so I'll ask the dumb question. Why is 11 through 12 optional? Oh, hello, Brightly. Thanks for dropping by. How's it going? Welcome, welcome. Yeah, welcome to the group. Feel free to join the Discord server if you want to. We're here just having a nice, happy dev stream. Not sure why the copy paste function isn't working here. That's okay. Let's see here. Jay says it just gives you a piece of paper saying you're smart to help you get into university. You can opt out early to go straight into the workforce or earn a certificate in a trade. Ah, I see. All right, that actually makes a lot of sense. Because not every career requires going to college, so I guess it makes sense that it would be optional, so that if the career you're aiming for requires you to go to college, then obviously you do grades 11 through 12, or if the career you're going for requires you to go to the trade, you go to the trade. That makes a lot of sense. And right now, we're also discussing differences in education systems around the world. It's pretty neat to see how different countries handle their different education systems. So, are universities in Australia fairly similar to, I guess, the US in the sense that you usually go over there for a 4-year degree? Given you live in a rural area, lots of people just go work on their parents' farm or similar. Ah, gotcha. Yep, that makes sense. Yeah, I remember where I grew up, like, there was almost like an expectation to go to college. And while it made sense for the career I went into, that being engineering, it's not everyone, it doesn't necessarily make sense for everyone, and that's okay. There are trades, and there's other types of work out there as well. It's something I've, as far as you're aware, the university is very similar. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, I guess that makes sense because of the whole accreditation process. Because I guess for a degree to count for applying for a career, it has to meet some certain level of standard. And that's where I guess the accreditation process comes into play. So it makes sense, given that a lot of areas, a lot of universities around the world would have a similar general structure. All right, so now chat, we've typed all this out, and for those who might be just joining the stream, you might be saying, Antomicx, this is a dev stream, why are you typing a table and Doodle documents? Because, dear viewer, whenever you make a video game, especially one that's going to be relatively large in scope, you can't keep all that information in your head or you will go insane. I'm speaking from experience. So, writing stuff like this, I mean, even this is just my dev stream notes, not my game development notes, just notes for these dev streams that I hold once every 2 weeks. It's over 100 pages long at this point. If that's not telling, if that's not indicative of how much information can be necessary for the game development process, I don't know what is. But now that we have this, we're going to switch back over to here. Scroll on over, and use these to create some new global values. So for those unfamiliar with Fusion 2.5, global values are alterable values that can be used anywhere in the application. So whereas if I define an alterable value on an object in, let's say, the central well frame, that alterable value will not be on that same object in the lower well or depths unless I copy them over. However, a global value, as the term suggests, is global, it applies to all frames. So that can be a bit of a double-edged sword. The rule of thumb with global values is it should be something that doesn't really change throughout the course of gameplay. So things that should be set once and kind of forgotten about, like the positioning of the UI on menus and stuff. But that begs the question, if it's supposed to be kind of set in stone, why bother making the global value in the first place? And that's because, not for the player's sake, but for the developer's sake. So literally this whole rework has been a massive undertaking because at the time that I made a lot of this UI, I did not have the foresight to make these positioning values alterable values of some kind. Had I had that foresight, this would have been a much quicker process where I could just be like, okay, I need to make some adjustments. Okay, let's just adjust everything in this list and done. Instead, we've had to go through this very long-winded process where I'm checking through hundreds of lines of code and having to make adjustments. So this, in essence, is supposed to help future-proof the UI a bit in the event that another change like this is necessary. And that is why we have global values. So we need 14 global values for this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. All right, and now what we'll do is we'll copy over the names. Yeah, I'm gonna have to double check these very carefully because we don't want to accidentally input the wrong values. So yeah, Jay, Brightly, have you guys played any good games recently? As one thing I found, one thing I've done recently is I started playing Celeste, and it's a lot of fun. I also started, I think it's a game called Trackmania. I think it's called Trackmania United Forever. It's basically a combination of, I think, three major Trackmania games, those being the original, Sunrise, and Stadium. And you might be saying, Anton, why Trackmania? Because when I was but when I was quite young, I remember having a Trackmania being my favorite racing game, and that's because Trackmania actually is a racing game with a level editor, and that makes it a lot more engaging to me, being the game developer, than any other racing game where it's like, yeah, you have some tracks and you can customize your race cars and stuff, but it's not like you're actually building a stage to drive on. All right. Now let's keep going. Only 4 more to add. Then we'll input the values. And then we'll actually make our adjustments. You got it worked. Sounds good, Jay. Thank you so much for dropping by, and I hope you have a great day. Okay, we have our new alterable values. Now we just need to enter them. Okay, so yeah, 218 is what it used to be. We need to enter these values on the right. No, wait, I take it back. Oh, did I hit these backwards? I got these backwards, didn't I? Yep, I did. Whoops, okay. I'm gonna do this. Yeah, especially chat whenever you're doing any amount kind of game development work that is very repetitive in nature, it's very easy for your mind to go into autopilot. And while that can be a good thing if you have everything set up correctly, it can be a bad thing if you're not paying close enough attention to realize that you're mixing things up like this. Yeah, I mean, I like it when my brain goes into autopilot when I know I have everything set up and I just need to invest time to make the change happen. Like when I was changing the appearances of when I was adding like light fixtures to some of the walls in Heartwell. Like at a certain point, that just gets very repetitive, and it's one of those things where you want your brain to go into autopilot. But then when you have to fill in more specific details, like areas where there's like metal platforms or perhaps a very specific prop, like pipes or bookshelves or things like that, that's where you have to pay a bit more attention. All right. Now that we've done that, we can enter our values. So, those who are just joining, right now we are in the midst of entering our new global values so that we can continue the rework. Okay. Now we have those global values all set. It's time to input them. So let's go to the central well. And we're at the central well. So look for that 218. I see the 218. So the 218 corresponds to manifest help bot selection at offset 1. Just make sure we're in the right ballpark. $740 sets to $749. Okay. Okay. Right now, chat, we're just looking for anywhere that says 218. Like right there. And right there. All right, that's all the 218s. Now we need the 582s. There's one. Okay. So that made that adjustment. Now we need 84. I have a note about this. It says change must also be applied to the A4 in that calculation. Okay. Alrighty. Alrighty. Alright, there's that 84. Me realizing that we're going to have to repeat this process for three other frames means that while this will take a while, we also know that this is all doable. This is very doable. We just need to be persistent. We can do this, chat. And we will do this. We will push through and make these changes happen. All right. There's another one. Alright, another 336. And any others? Any others? No. Okay. Okay, let's see what's up next. $398. There we go. Let's add that all up. Yeah, 398, 398. 398, 398. Okay. $196 is next. There it is. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay. Yep, there's another one. Oh, whoops, gone too far. All right. Back we go. So far, so good. Oh, there's one. 112. All right, 182. There we go. Okay. All right, 210 is not no 210s used in a bunch of places, but we will we will be persistent, chat. We will keep pushing forward. Okay. Damn, that's one. Okay, no, yeah. Okay, we're done. Right now, chat, I'm double checking things because I'm paranoid that might be that's only hitting x coordinate stuff, which we want to hit. You know, we want to affect the y coordinates, not the x coordinates. Okay. Alrighty. 280 is next. Okay. Oh, hello, Topper Nicholson. Thanks for dropping by. How's it going? Welcome, welcome. Hey, we're back. I was away on travel for the past couple of weeks, but we're back, and I'm excited because we're continuing the dev streams. Alrighty. One 154. Alrighty. Alrighty, so we have all those. Copy that on in there. There we go. Alrighty. Okay, that's that. Step 153. Let's see here. Okie doke. Yeah, also the next thing's gonna be the 210 there. So that 210 is actually this one right here. Because it's an X coordinate. Alrighty. Okie doke. And it just leaves this one right here. Nice. Alrighty. Yep, make sure to hydrate, chat. Hydrating's important. Alright. Let's see what we can find here. So right now, chat, I'm just double checking to make sure that every X and Y coordinate offset has been adjusted. I have to look very carefully. I need to look in the equations. I need to look at the comparisons. All right. Chat, you know what time it is? It's testing time. So what we are going to do, chat, is we are going to run this frame and attempt to see if the help box is working correctly. Well, it'll be very obvious whether it is or not. So what I'm going to be doing, chat, is essentially just running my mouse through the different sections of the manifest here. So the different areas where it says different things like insight, health, stamina, etc. And ideally, this box over here on the right will actually adjust. Now already I'm noticing it's adjusting when I move my cursor back onto the manifest versus off it, so that's good. But what's important is that it aligns correctly with where the mouse cursor is over fine details. Like for example, water. And look at that, there's the water help box description, which is as it should be. Then we go up a little bit, we have wind, water, wind, water, wind, water, ice. Yep. There's light, wind, electric, earth. Let's see here. Who do I think has more peaceful vibes? Dorothy from Heartwell or Tree Hugger from another show? I would probably say Tree Hugger for the sole reason that I have not seen Tree Hugger ever fight per se, whereas Dorothy has to fight. Like that's part of the game. Yep, now fire works correctly, physical works correctly, general damage bonuses looking good, stamina. I like what I wrote for some of these, like measures your energy levels for physical exertion. Highly technical, I know, but an accurate description. Yep, there's ammo. And there's health, insights, wisdom, more wisdom. Well, wisdom at spears, wisdom. XP bonus, XP, level. Off manifest, off manifest. Alright, strength. Dexterity, vitality, endurance, agility is something I'm going to obviously have to change to be something for stamina regeneration. So that's something that will come up. Oh, something must have popped up off Windows. I was very confused by that. I was like, what just happened? Alright, let's see. Agility, healing charge effectiveness, and jump cost, ammo recovery, and sprint cost, dash cost. Alright, so chat, the player stat page is actually looking good. Let's look at the melee stat page. Nice. Okay, that one's good. Let's take a look at this. Place the melee weapon from the Manifest Armory database. Now we see level. Now we have base damage and finesse, stamina reduction, miscellaneous. It's showing what each of the specials do as a test. Yep, that all lines up. Strength bonus and crit rate. Stamina cost and crit multiplier. Oh, there's melee damage. Yep, and the various damage types. Status effects, build-up rates. Status effects impacts proportional to target build-up. Burn and Headwind, Fault Line and Riptide, Surge and Frostbite. Alright, now let's check the range stat page. Actually, let's make sure these are working correctly. Yep, so description for the fists. Have the axe, then nothing since nothing's here yet. Infusions. Cool. Ranged weapon time. So chat, what I'm doing here is I'm just checking the spots right here to make sure it all is displaying stuff. Alright, let's change weapons. Let's see here. Dropper Nicholson asks, which members of Class 7 do I think would be fans of that show? Specifically Class 7 from Trails of Cold Steel. Okay, well, definitely Emma. Emma would absolutely be a fan of that show because she likes lots of different forms of fiction. I think Milliam would be a fan of that show on the grounds that Pinkie Pie exists. Let's see here. I think Machias I could see being a fan of the show because he analyze it very deeply. And Elliot would probably be a fan of the show because he's a sweetheart and because he likes music. After that, I could see Reen and possibly Toa, and that'd probably be about it. I don't think you'd be able to pay someone like Fee to even watch that show. Laura probably wouldn't have much interest because she's mostly focused on more physical action and all sorts of physical fitness. Guy has some more focus on the great outdoors, so probably won't have much interest in the show. And Eustace would probably be just too stuck up to be at all interested in a show like that. Same with Alyssa. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Dropper Nicholson. All right, chat. Well, guess what? We've done it. We've, at least on one frame, we have the manifest now actually working exactly as intended. I mean, look at this. It's fully functional. we can level stuff up if we really want to. See? Do stuff like that. Let's do... Yeah, it's fully functional, chat. Isn't that amazing? It's taken us months to get to this point. And bear in mind, we have to do what I just showed you for 3 other frames. But the fact that we've done this at all is a massive milestone. This has been months in the making, but it has happened. The manifest is actually working. I already mentioned to Howard Nicholson. I said kind of like Green. They might be interested in it casually because they both are fairly wholesome. Anyway, but look at it. It's glorious. It's glorious. I know. Now the question, can I get away with copying those lines of code over? Yeah, no worries, dude. Well, chat, I think that actually be a good spot to take a break before we continue editing. So, don't know error, guys. I will be right back. Alrighty, chat. Let's get back to it. So, what I was saying a little bit before is I'm curious if we can just copy over the lines that we just edited to the other frames to save us a bit of time here. So the lines we edited were these ones right here. So essentially 746 through 768. Yeah, it'd be the menu page selection checks, the melee page and range display checks, and the player page display text checks. I think the best, whoa, cancel, sorry. I think the best way to go about this would be probably to copy section by section. So when this doesn't work is when there's like a active object that has an alterable value. But when it does work is when there isn't anything like that. So this might work, but we'll have to be very careful. So first we need to find the display text checks in the lower well, which, judging by previous lines, okay, it would be a little over 100 higher than where we were before. So if we're at 746 here, that means we're probably looking in the 860s. Or not. Did I mess these up? Wait, no, I did mix these up, so it actually be lower. About 60 lower. It's probably more like the 680s, I want to say. Aha! Here we are. And activate those lines. Put those over here. Let's make sure everything lines up. Help on to italicize size string. Yep. All right, that works fairly well. Cool. All right. That's that. So we have the depths. So right from the depths. So compared to, it's a little over 200 higher. So we're in some 40s. I mean, we'll be in like the 960s. Yep. Let's say it's lined up properly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. Now for the test stream. Nope, that's the opening cutscene. Whoops. Alright. This frame's going to be close to 120 less. So it should be in the 620s. Aha! Cool. That all seems to line up correctly. Yep, it's calling out the same arrays, same alterable values, same strings. Cool. Alrighty. Well, now to repeat the process for the other two sections. Copper Nicholson says, who I say is faster, Racer, Rainbow Dash, or Sonic the Hedgehog? Well, I don't know who Racer is. In terms of Rainbow Dash versus Sonic the Hedgehog, that depends. Does Sonic the Hedgehog have the Chaos Emeralds? Because if Sonic the Hedgehog has the Chaos Emeralds and knows Chaos Control, then technically Sonic the Hedgehog can manipulate time, and at that point, Sonic is by definition the fastest thing. So he could. All right. Well, if the argument is that Rainbow Dash also does not have... Alright, so if Sonic doesn't have the Chaos Emeralds, that also means that Rainbow Dash does not have whatever power-up source that she gets. And at that point, I would say depends on the environment. If there is a surface to run on, I would think Sonic would be faster, but if it is meant to be a question of who can go through the air faster, that would probably be Rainbow Dash for the sole reason that she can fly. And that's about all I have to say. All right, so next up we have melee and range display checked. Are there any things here that would be concerning? Not really. One, two, three, four. One, two. One, two. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay. Up, chat. Looks like we have a bot. A bot has arrived. Ready your emotes, chat. Ready your emotes. Unleash the emotes. All right. That's been taken care of. Sorry about that, chat. Let's continue what we were doing. Yep. Was it 12? Yeah. Okay, that's been rectified. And up next we have, let's see here. All right. And then that leaves the test frame. Okay, nothing odd here. Cool. All that leaves the menu page selection checks. Okay. All right. That looks good. Now we'll go to the test frame. All right. All right, with that, let's take some tests. All right, manifest seems to be working. Cool. All right, that works there. Let's go to the lower wall. All right, seems to be working. I don't know, how do they start their day, Copper Nicholson? Let's level up a melee weapon this time. I see. Okay, that works. And finally, the depths. Seems to be working. Let's see here. Let's level up the surgeon. Yep. More damage. Yep, that worked. Cool. Cool. All right, chat. So chat, do you know what this means? After months of work, the manifest is now finally working correctly in the new orientation for the full screen rework. This, chat, by far was the biggest hurdle to creating the ultimate full screen rework, and we've done it. Now, there's still a couple of things I'm going to have to take care of with the ultimate full screen rework. Namely the adjustment of where text will appear in specific frames, as well as certain UI elements. But what we've accomplished here, chat, is massive, because the manifest was by far the most complicated piece of UI in the entire game. And it's finally done its adjustments. And not only that, its adjustments with the ability to adjust with all these different alternate values in the event that anything needs to change in the future. So that's a massive accomplishment, chat. So I just want to say, while there's still more work to do to finish the rework for the to finish the full screen rework, this is a major milestone, and I want to thank each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart for supporting me all throughout this process. I know it's been a very long, it can sometimes feel like, are we ever going to make progress on this? Are we even going in the right direction at times? But just know that each and every one of you have been the best encouragement I could have ever asked for to push through all this, because this isn't complicated, but it is extremely tedious and at times even boring to go through. You know, just it can be mind-numbing to look at all these equations and try to change them bit by bit. But thanks to all of you, you've all given me the wherewithal to push through it and try to make these changes a reality. And I really, really, really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. So Obviously, where do we go from here? Well, there's still more work to do for the full stream rework. I think that that's a good high note to end for tonight's stream, is the fact that we actually have the manifest working in its new orientation, and also now adjustable if we ever need to make some changes in the future. So with that, I think this will be a good spot to wrap things up. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to stick around for a raid. But if you're watching on YouTube and you like what you saw, please consider subscribing on YouTube. It's free to subscribe on YouTube. You can always change your mind later. That's a great way to show support. If you're watching on YouTube, have an amazing night.